Today is 26th of February. My name is Sahil and welcome to the newspaper analysis. So friends, in the today's video, we'll be taking up the entire analysis of the Hindu newspaper and we will also see the relevant articles if they are there in the Indian Express explained section. Now, first of all, let's see the overview of the today's entire newspaper to understand that which type of articles are relevant for our examination. Now, first of all, we'll take an overview of the Indian Express explained section. Now here you can see that into the explained section, the VIP security has been explained. So recently Kangana Ranaut was given the VIP security. Now Dera Chief Gurmeet Ram Rahim Singh has been given the Z security. Fine, Z plus security, he is out on the furlough. So basically it has been explained that why he was convicted, what is the different level of security, etc. Not at all important article for your examination. Guys, please don't go into such kind of things. Then below article, Ukraine, a short history of its creation. Okay, so in the ancient history, fine, medieval history of Ukraine, etc. has been explained. Again, not important examination with respect to our UPSC examination. Clear? So then moving to the Hindu newspaper, and guys, today as it is Saturday, on the Saturday the text and the context page doesn't come. So today text and context article will also not be there. Now the first page is talking about the situation that is evolving in the Ukraine. So yesterday we have seen that the Russia had invaded the Ukraine. Now we have seen the three reasons that why the Russia had invaded the Ukraine. A very detailed article already we have seen. Now the Russia doesn't say that this is a full-fledged invasion. Russia says that we have just intervened in order to restore back the rule, the rule of law. Okay, this is the Russia's version. So how all these things are going on, which cities they have attacked, such kind of thing is there. Clear, everyday development you are not required to see there. Then the surprise enemy with Indian arms. So the Prime Minister, he had provided this particular thing that India needed to customize the arms and the weaponry. Okay, and in this particular direction he had provided that now this particular year, as the budget had already envisaged that we will be going forward with the defense manufacturing, so such kind of address has been made. Apart from that, nothing is there. Clear? After that, guys, moving on, then we move on, and in the city section, no COVID curbs, etc., advertisements, fine. Then this entire page filled with government tenders. Okay, fine. Then the hijab row, high court reserves verdict on plea. Okay, so this is issue is going on, hijab issue. Okay, just this matter is being debated, but up till now nothing concrete has come in this particular matter. Just in few days the high court will finally be coming out that what is this entire thing. Okay, what should be the approach while dealing with this hijab issue. Is it clear? Till then, everyday articles are not at all important. Clear? Because they will not make any sense towards the end. Clear? Then the advertisement. Okay, so there are not much of the news here before the editorial section. Now Putin's moves are hardly the chest thumping. Okay, so guys, now the basically attack, the invasion have been made onto the Ukraine. So basically that particular kind of thing is being analyzed. Then the below article is talking about the inflection point onto the West-led global order. So it is talking about that how basically the West has proved ineffective in the face of Russia. Such kind of thing is provided. Now two things I want to tell you here, guys, that when a kind of a policy article is coming, okay, or when basically a kind of an article is coming which is giving a long term horizon, fine, then we can see it. But everyday commentary is not at all required, because that is something which will be not be useful after 5-6 months. So please be very careful in such kind of articles. So the below article will be seeing it. Then the perfect storm. So this particular article is talking about the economic implications that are coming because of the Russia's invasion. We'll see this article. Troubled water. This particular article talks about the India Sri Lanka fishermen issue. We'll see this article. Then further, today there's a Saturday ground zero report comes, and the ground zero report investigates from the ground the situation of the citizens on some of the issues. Now this is talking about a railway line project into the Kerala Silver Line, and this particular Silver Line project has actually been it has invited a lot of flack from the environmentalist and local peoples that this railway project will be degrading the environment. Okay, it will not be a very good thing. So basically they are just giving a kind of an idea that which villages where they are protesting, such kind of thing. With respect to the exam, much of academic viewpoint is not there here. Then further moving on, after that, guys, Air India to fly planes in Ukraine's neighbor, very evolving kind of details. Assembly polls, nothing is important important into this entire page. Then the same kind of things, fine, COVID-19 protocols, we should lift it. And then basically some basically kind of things are just the factual informations are there, not very much important. Clear? Then moving on, after that the world page, the Ukraine Russia is going on. Okay, then further we come to the business page. Onto the business page also there are certain issues that how the Russia Ukraine situation will be impacting the Indian economic scenario. Clear? So these things are there. Apart from that, there are the evolutionary things, how the markets are behaving and all such kind of things, not important. However, this particular article, India seeks urea trade with Iran in rupees. Now why this particular thing is being done, it is important. So guys, today's newspaper majorly containing the Ukraine issue and the here and by there political issues are there. Then we'll be moving to the sports page. Okay, so this is all about the overview of the today's newspaper. And guys, now let's see the relevant articles into the today's paper. Now, so starting up, so as we do in our every class, we start with the GS quote. So today's GS quote we have taken from the Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa says, it's not about how much you do, but how much love you put into what you do that counts. Is it clear? So what counts? Your intention counts. Is it clear? Your actions are not something which will be counting. Your intentions behind that particular action is something that counts. Is it clear? So putting a love into the thing, putting a dedication and a devotion in whatever you are doing, it is the very important criteria. We can use this particular quote in ethics GS paper number 4. In ethics GS paper number 4. So that is all guys about it. And now taking up the MCQs. First of all, the MCQ answers for the yesterday. The question number 1, the correct answer is C. You can read the statements. And the question number 2, correct answer is C. Now guys, understand one particular thing I want to tell you with respect to the MCQs. See, many a times, see, basically the issue is when the MCQs are being framed, sometimes there will be let's say the 4 options are there. Sometimes you have to eliminate the wrong ones. Sometimes all the options might be there which are true in some or the other respect. In such kind of situations, you need to identify which is most perfect kind of an answer. Clear? So always keep in mind, into even into the UPSC, they are not always asking that okay, that 3 options will be completely incorrect and only one will be entirely correct. No, sometimes all the 4 options might be true to certain extent, but which is more true, that thing was also something that is to be seen. So keep that particular thing also in your mind. Now taking up the MCQs, the first MCQ, it is with respect to the scheduled tribes in India. Why? Because the Metis issue has come yesterday into the newspaper. Okay, so we have taken this question on scheduled tribes. Then the second question is from the Indus Water Treaty, because we have seen that the permanent commission is about to meet. Okay, so please read the statements and identify the right option. Please pause the video and mark the correct answer. Okay, and guys, it is very good to see that you are attempting and you are commenting the right answers. Very good habit, keep it up. Okay, now moving on. Okay, so first article here we have taken from the editorial section, and there is one more article which we have taken from the Hindu newspaper as well. So guys, this here it will be understanding the entire economic implication that is coming from the Russia's invasion on the Ukraine. So therefore it will be important with respect to the GS paper number 3, state of Indian economy, as well as this particular thing can also be seen with respect to the GS paper number 2, clear, international affairs. Fine. Now moving on, first of all guys, as the Russia has invaded the Ukraine, after that the market frenzy has begun. Economic scenario has come under a kind of a lot of jeopardy, and we now see that the stock markets have crashed. Fine, the stock markets have crashed. After that we find this particular thing that the crude oil has reached a historic high. Fine, into the last 8 years the highest price point has been touched by the crude oil, and it is now trading around $105 per barrel. Okay, so the gold has soared. Fine, the stock markets have crashed. Fine, crude oil has increased. Clear? Then all these particular issues are going on. Now this economic uncertainty will continue. Fine, and the investors will be on to their nudge. Fine, and we need to see that how the UNSC will be deciding on this particular matter, how United Nations Security Council will be deciding. If UNSC can put some sense and let's say if a stability comes, then the economic condition can recover. Otherwise guys, there will be a lot of uncertainty. However, when we talk about, guys, the UNSC, in the UNSC, the Russia is amongst the P5. It is a permanent member and it holds a veto. So under the UNSC also much will be coming. We cannot expect this particular thing. Fine. Now, guys, when we talk about it, the world has condemned the actions of the Russia. The world has condemned the actions of the Russia, and it is expected that much more sanctions will be imposed on the Russia. And when the sanctions will be imposed onto the Russia, the things whatever are being imported to the Russia and the things whatever are the things that are being exported to Russia and the things that are being imported from Russia, on all those commodities there will be a huge of impact that is going on to be there. Now, when we talk about the Russia, India has not taken any very clear position onto the Russia. Neither we have supported the Russia nor we have condemned the Russia. Is it clear? Now, guys, when we talk about the India, clear, first of all, there are the two types of dependence of India that is there onto the Russia in terms of economic sphere. Number one, our dependence because of the crude oil, and second, our dependence of other kinds of goods. Now, guys, when we talk about the crude dependence over the Russia, clear, then basically India's dependent onto the Russian petroleum is just a fraction of the total oil import, and we can replace it from the other countries, so it is not a problem. But there is another commodity for which the Russia is very much important, clear, fertilizer and the sunflower oil. Okay, so for these two commodities we are dependent on Russia, and finding a replacement here might not be very much possible, clear. Moreover, guys, when we talk about the export that India is making to the Russia, it is less than 1% of India's total export, clear. Pharmaceutical, less than 1%, which can also be diversified to some other country, but the pharmaceutical and tea, they might face some kind of challenges. Particularly, guys, even the coffee is exported to the Ukraine, tea is exported to the Russia. Okay, so there is a very big market, so here there might be a problem. Now, though from the Russia, direct problem will not be there in terms of trade, but the indirect problem that will be coming is this, that, guys, what had happened because of this particular thing, as on Russia there will be the sanctions that will be imposed, and Russia actually is a very big supplier of oil and gas to many other countries. Into the world's total output of the oil and gas, Russia has a very big role. And if on Russia the sanction will be imposed, what will happen? The other countries, in order to fill up in the gap, what they will do, they will increase the pricing. Is it clear? And for that particular thing, crude oil price into the global market will increase. And when the crude oil price in the global market will increase, what will happen? Then indirect impact will come on India, because India's 80% of the crude oil requirements are fulfilled by the imports. Moreover, guys, for India's export also, this particular thing will be problem. Why? Because the export, it happens through the ship. Okay, and when the ships when the export is happening through the ships, and when the ships are being operated onto the oil, what will happen? The freight price will increase. Okay, the operational journey of the ship will become expensive, because they are also using the oil. Freight will increase, and when the freight will increase, what will happen? India's export competitiveness will go down. For example, earlier the India was exporting a good to the USA. Now the price of this particular good was, let's say, 100 rupees. Okay, in that, let's say 10 rupees was the freight which was added. 110 rupees, let's say, is the landing price into the USA, will not include the custom. 110 was the landing price. Now if this freight will increase, let's say, to 30 rupees because of the oil is increasing, then the landing price will increase and the export competitiveness will go down. So this is a very big problem that can happen, and because of that particular thing, India might face a challenge. And then there is inelastic oil import bill. Fine, we import a lot of oil, fine, even let's say from the other countries, and if the crude oil price will go up, what will happen? Total import bill will increase, clear, and that particular thing will impact the current account deficit of India. Moreover, understand this particular thing, the rupee is right now is also under the pressure. Rupee is also right now under the pressure, because in India inflation is increasing, clear. And why inflation is increasing? Because inflation is very nearly connected to the crude oil prices. If the crude oil price will become, transportation within the country will become expensive, and transportation within the country, if it will become expensive, supply of the food, grains, milk, etc. in other parts of country will become expensive, so inflation will go up. Rupee's position will weaken. Is it clear? If it will weaken, what will happen? Then further the imports that we are making, they will also become expensive. So everything is actually connected in a circle. Fine. Now when we talk about the Russia, okay, on the because of the Russia there might not be a very much big impact, but guys, actually we but at the same time, guys, when we talk about, there are the common basically the Commonwealth of the Independent States, CIS. Now the Commonwealth of Independent States is a very big market of the Indian export. CIS, Commonwealth of Independent States. Now into the CIS there are the 9 members: Armenia, Azerbaijan, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Moldova, Russia, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, and Turkmenistan is an associate member, and the observer members are the Afghanistan and the Mongolia. So the CIS, now they have basically on them the Russia's influence is a lot, and we are exporting to them. Clear? Now the market here might get impacted. Clear? So this is a very big problem that can come. Okay. Right now the forex reserves are healthy. Okay. However, into the long term, if this particular thing goes, there might be a problem. So therefore, right now the oil prices and the inflation is a very big worry for the India. Oil inflation is already basically nearing around the 6% mark, so we need to control it. Fine. So this is, guys, the economic scenario that is going on. Now what is the precaution that has been taken by the India? Okay, so India has taken one precaution, that we are now signing a deal with the Iran. Is it clear? Now why we are signing a deal with Iran? You need to understand a background first, guys. I told you that actually in basically India is very much dependent for two things: fertilizer and the sunflower oil on the Russia. Now the fertilizers are actually very much important for India. Clear? Because we provide them, find a lot of fertilizers such as urea we are providing to our farmers. Okay. Now for the fertilizer we are signing a deal with the Iran. Okay, earlier, guys, before 2019 we were importing a lot of urea from the Iran, but after 2019 we suspended the urea import from the Iran because of the USA's pressure that was there. You might be already, we have seen many number of times that there was the joint comprehensive plan of action. Clear? Under the joint comprehensive plan of action, a deal was made by P5+1, okay, with the Iran. Now what was actually the situation in Iran? Iran was going with the uranium enrichment, and basically Iran's uranium enrichment, okay, was a kind of a concern for the entire world country. So they signed a deal with Iran that, okay, you will reduce your uranium enrichment, and the sanctions that were there onto the Iran, they will be removed. This deal happened with the Iran. However, during the time of Donald Trump, the USA withdrew from this deal. This deal was called as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. USA withdrew from this particular deal, and since then, from 2019 onwards, what happened? The USA was pressurizing India also that you don't do trade with the Iran because we have withdrawn from this Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, and new sanctions will be imposed on the Iran. Clear? So India also came under the pressure, and after 2019 we stopped importing a lot of urea from the Iran. Now India will again India is again thinking to start the import of urea from the Iran. Clear? And guys, this particular thing we will be doing on the favorable terms. When we'll buy the urea from the Iran, we will be paying the money in rupee. We'll be paying the money in the rupees. Is it clear? Now paying rupee will help us a lot. Why? Because, guys, as the rupee is being paid, foreign exchange reserves will not go down. Foreign exchange reserves will not go down. If rupee would not have been paid, we would have paid the dollars. And guys, dollars, a lot of volatility is there when the dollar rupee price is to be seen. Clear? So basically we are now planning to buy the urea from Iran in the rupee. Clear? Now by this particular thing we will hedge ourselves from the global supply disruption. Now I already told you that on Russia the sanctions are being imposed, and if we will be dependent on that only, there will be problem. High prices, forex volatility. We have already seen that we halted the urea import from Iran in 2019 under the pressure from the USA. Is it clear? And at that point of a time, our dependence for the urea actually increased on other countries such as the China, Ukraine and Russia. Now out of these three countries, Ukraine and Russia is in a crisis. So again we are going back to the Iran. Again, we are going back to the Iran. And guys, one more thing is there, that what happened, the China last year basically abruptly put a kind of a restriction on their urea export, and then the India faced a problem. There was a urea shortage that came last year in the India because of the China's abrupt export ban. So we don't want this particular thing to happen again, so therefore we are diversifying it, and Iran is being included. Is it clear? So this is something that has been there. Okay, so it is all about the guys, this entire issue. I hope that you have understood it, and now we'll move to the next article. Troubled waters. Now this particular article can be seen under GS paper number 2, international relations, or the relations with the neighborhoods. Now guys, here we will be talking about the India Sri Lanka. Now understand this particular thing, that when the India Sri Lanka are to be concerned, Sri Lanka happens to be a very important partner for India. Clear? Number one, there are a lot of cultural ties that are there with the Sri Lanka. Then there are the economic ties that are there with the Sri Lanka. Is it clear? Large number of export market is a large number of export products I actually have been supplied to the Sri Lanka. Then guys, the Sri Lanka's strategic importance is also there. Fine. Why the strategic importance? Because the Sri Lanka has been many a times basically lured by the China. Fine. China in their string of pearls policy, they wants to the China, as a part of their string of pearls policy, they want to have a control over the Sri Lanka, so that within the Sri Lanka they can establish their military bases, they can establish their facilities. Clear? And by this they will be coming very much near to the India. So strategic importance of Sri Lanka is also there. Now out of all these particular importances, there are certain irritants that are there. Clear? The irritants are there. For example, the 13th constitutional amendment is irritant. 13th constitutional amendment is an irritant. Under the 13th constitutional amendment, the Sri Lanka had promised that the Jaffna region, okay, this region, Jaffna region will be given a lot of autonomy. Is it clear? The representation of the people living in the Jaffna in the government services will be increased. Now in the Jaffna primarily the Tamilian people are living. Is it clear? So basically this has been promised, but up till now not implemented. So 13th constitutional amendment act issue is there. Then there is a very big issue of the fishermen. The issue of the fishermen is there. Clear? And now this fishermen issue many a times becomes very much problematic. Is it clear or not? Now what is this the issue that is coming into this fishermen? See, here we can see that first of all we have Park Strait here, then we have Park Bay, then we have Gulf of Mannar. Clear? So with respect to the geography also, you can see the north to south location. First of all we have Park Strait, then we have Park Bay, and then we have the Gulf of Mannar. Now guys, particularly when this Park Bay region is concerned, clear, here the Indian fishermen and the Sri Lankan fishermen, they are conflicting, they are coming in clash from time to time. Clear? You can see here that this is a common fishing ground between the fishermen of both the countries. Clear? The Tamilian fishermen as well as the Sri Lankan fishermen, and many a times the clash happens here. Just a few days back there was a standoff that happened between the Tamilian and Sri Lankan fishermen, and there some of the fishermen from the Jaffna region, they were killed also. Many a times the navy of the Sri Lanka, they captured basically they arrest the Indian fishermen, they seize their boats, and all such kind of thing is going on. So this fishermen issue is a very big concern, and guys, understand this particular thing. Many a times the para diplomacy, or let's say many a times basically the state's action impacts the international relation. Two examples are there in our country, very prominent. Number one, in the basically the Tamil Nadu's actions, or Tamil Nadu is impacting a lot of international relations with the Sri Lanka. Is it clear? Second example is of the West Bengal. Clear? So because of the West Bengal's policies, the basically international relation with the Bangladesh are many a times they get influenced. Is it clear? So this is one particular issue. Now the influence impact is not I'm trying to say that negative impact. Okay, negative, positive, both type of impacts are there. Fine. Now the fishermen issue. Now the fishermen of the Tamil Nadu are being arrested. Okay, with their livelihood is getting concerned. So therefore many a times the Sri Lanka's policies are called in action by the Tamil Nadu. Is it clear? The Sri Lanka's policies are called in action by the Tamil Nadu. Clear? And because of this particular factor, a large extent of our foreign policy of Sri Lanka is also, it is driven. Fine, the consideration is there. Now understand guys, what is the very very big problem between the Indian and Sri Lankan fishermen. The problem is of the bottom trawling. Bottom trawling. Now, what is this bottom trawling? Understand the bottom trawling. Fine, bottom trawling. So basically, the Indian fishermen, they are comparatively well off when compared with the Sri Lankan fishermen. And basically, the Indian fishermen, the way they are fishing, it is ecologically disturbing. What they do, basically, let's say that this is the water, they will be throwing the net. Now this particular net, okay, it will be having the weights attached with it, okay, and just then they will be cruising their ship, and whatever the fish is there, whatever the flora, whatever the fauna, crabs, etc. will be there, they will just capture all this particular thing in a net. Now by this bottom trawling method, now this bottom trawling, you need to have big ships, and they are there with the Tamilian fishermen. Now the Sri Lankan fisherman says that due to this bottom trawling method, they capture all the fishes, even they capture the small fishes which are not actually fit for consumption, but in the long term they could be a productive seed. Clear? So they are disturbing the ecology, and they take up all the fish. We are not able to get any fish. Sri Lankan fishermen are saying this particular thing. So this irritant has come again and again, and the confrontation comes here between the fishermen. Is it clear? Fine. Now it is also seen that very frequently the Tamilian fishermen also cross the international maritime boundary line. Now the international maritime boundary line is there in between, so it is crossed and they go into the territorial waters of the Sri Lanka, and there they are arrested. Clear? So basically, basically, if we see, though the Sri Lankan fishermen, they are well off compared with the the Indian fishermen, they are well off compared with the Sri Lankan fishermen. But guys, in Sri Lanka, in Tamil Nadu also, at this particular point of time, there is a lot of economic we can say that the condition of them also not very much economically sound, particularly because of the COVID-19 pandemic that has ravaged the economic situation. Clear? So the economic desperation is increasing there also. Clear? How to deal with this particular matter now, it is very much important. So dealing this particular matter, number one, what we need to do, we need to restart the fishermen, we need to restart the joint working group. Now what is this joint working group? It is a kind of a initiative between the India and the Sri Lanka, where a hotline has been established, and we can discuss all the issues of concern, particularly the fishermen issue. Now what had happened, the last basically the last meeting of the joint working group, it happened into the December 2020, and now we are into the 2022. Entire 2021 meeting was not there. So this joint working group is needed to be restarted so that all these matters can be discussed here. After that, guys, the next thing that has been provided here is that basically the government needs to provide some concession to the fishermen, okay, of the Park Bay districts of Tamil Nadu, so that they can diversify their livelihood, so that they can abandon the bottom trawling that they are doing, for which the fishermen of Sri Lanka are having problems. So some incentive can be provided. Clear? Moreover, guys, apart from this, there is one more solution that is to be provided, is that government need to explore the blue revolution. Government need to explore the blue revolution in such a kind of a manner that some other possibilities can also be given to the fishermen. Clear? And apart from just dependence onto the fishing, some other diversification of the employment, other type of opportunities are also to be provided. Is it clear? So this is something that can be done. Fine. Now guys, when we talk about the geographical locations, fine, in this particular region, first of all, north there will be the Park Strait, then there will be the Park Bay, then the Adams Bridge is there, and then the Gulf of Mannar is there. Okay, so this is something that you can see with respect to the mapping. That is all about this particular article, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Inflection point for the West-led global order. Clear? Now guys, this article is just briefly talking about the situation that is evolving in the Russia and Ukraine. Okay, now first of all, it has been provided that right now we see that the Russia has launched a full invasion of the Ukraine. Is it clear? Now basically the Russia is saying that we are going there to protect the pro-Russian people, the people of Russian ethnicity, and earlier even the Russia recognized the independence of the Donetsk and the Luhansk region, which is into the eastern Ukraine's Donbass, which is into the eastern Ukraine's Donbass. Now these people are pro-Russians, and that these two regions, their independence has been recognized by Russia. Now we find this particular thing that Moscow, the Russia, says that we are going to demilitarize the Ukraine. Is it clear? Now the assessment of this particular entire issue. Now it has been provided that the western countries, they have imposed a new round of sanctions against the Russia. Is it clear? And particularly the bank accounts linked with the Russia, they have been also frozen. What Germany did, Germany had suspended the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, clear, from which the gas was to be supplied from the Russia to the Germany, and from the Germany then it will go to the other parts of the Europe. Okay, so the Nord Stream 2 has been suspended, but it is not having a much of the implication, because the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, it was a new pipeline. Earlier also the Nord Stream 1 is there, and then apart from Nord Stream 1 and 2, there are multiple other pipelines also, clear. However, this particular thing we have seen earlier also. Then guys, further moving on, here it has been provided that actually the USA and its allies, basically, now it has been provided that basically the USA and the West, it is still thinking how we need to act, but actually the response remains murky, the response remains unclear, and even the USA has become rattled as what to be done, it is not very much clear. European Union, they have announced that a massive package of sanction will be coming right now, because this is the gravest threat, this is the gravest provocation that had happened. But at the same time, there are other mixed responses also. For example guys, though the European Union wants to impose a lot of sanctions onto the Russia, and they want to help the Ukraine also, but the Germany has taken a little bit different situation. What Germany says, Germany says that the NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, should not ship the German origin weapons to the Ukraine. Is it clear? They should not ship the German made weapons to the Ukraine. Why? Because Germany don't want to play a role where the Germans weapon are being used here. Moreover, when we talk about the France had taken up their independent diplomacy with the Russia. Is it clear? Just we have seen Normandy format talks happened just a few days back, which were led by the French President Emmanuel Macron. Now this was the time when the French was acting independently. USA's involvement was not there. So basically the French is taking its independent policy. Okay. So what we can see here, that not only the USA is there and the entire West is unified, there is a basically little bit of independent approaches that are also going on. However, there is a reality. What is the reality? That the European Union's energy dependence is also lot on the Russia, and because of this energy dependence, much more extreme steps against the Russia cannot be taken by the European Union. Understand this particular thing. European Union imports 39% of its total gas and 30% of its oil from the Russia. Clear? And the Central and Eastern European countries, fine, they are importing 100% of the Russian gas. And because of this particular thing also, the European Union is not very firmly convinced that they have to impose some kind of a very drastic sanctions onto the Russia. Dependence is there. After that guys, what has happened? Because this particular thing is going on, Russia China axis is getting very much stronger. Clear? As the West is coming against the Russia, Russia is going near to the China, their friendship is getting close, very stronger. Moreover guys, the China also wants to help Russia here. Why? There is a very big master plan of China. See, if the China will help the Russia, Russia will get emboldened. Clear? If Russia will get emboldened, USA has to become strategically active in the Europe, and if the USA will become active in the Europe, USA have to withdraw from the Indo-Pacific. In Indo-Pacific, their presence will get diluted, and as in the Indo-Pacific, China has some specific vested interest, so China will get benefit there. So this is something that the China is doing. Clear? Now the balance of power is again in a flux. China is developing the strategic partnership with the Russia. Western global order is still not very much decisive. Is it clear? Even within the West also, the countries such as the France, they are taking up their strategic autonomy. So basically it has to be seen that what will be done, and the response right now is not very much clear. So this is all which has come into this particular direction. Now I hope that this particular thing is clear. So guys, that is all about the today's newspaper analysis. Apart from this, other articles are not relevant, either the political articles or just the regional issues are there, so please don't go into that particular thing. Very few articles are relevant, okay, and all this is about fine. So I hope that everything is clear. Okay, meanwhile, good morning to everybody. Okay, Likita, good morning. Where we can get the GK questions you have been attaching at the beginning of the video. Okay, fine, dear, this particular entire PDF that I use here, you can download from our Telegram channel. Fine, you can search the Telegram, just go into the search bar, you can type the thinking palette and you will find the channel. Moreover, the link for the channel is also given in the description. From there you can join the Telegram and you can download this entire PDF from there. Okay, so that is all about, guys, today. Now we'll be meeting on Monday. Fine, and till then, please take care of yourselves. Sunday, please keep it solely for revision. So the entire week's newspaper, whatever has been there, please carry a revision for that on the Sunday. So that is all for the today, guys. Thank you so much.